make and to support the woman and girls of the life. One of these points is education too. With this system, we deny the access to the education of the women of the world, the girls in Afghanistan. All the human rights law forces the education to be accessible, inclusive, and if the woman have rights to have the education, because if I eliminate this right to the girls, they cannot resurrect, they cannot have a career, they have not a work, and then they will disappear. And then it will depend of the man. If they have the economy, he has the power. And then in Afghanistan, the girls and the women disappear of the secondary school, disappear of the university. Before 2021, the woman can go to the university, can go to have a career, have a lawyers, a doctor. That's disappear.
اون زندان آنقدر سخت بود، هم وحشت و ترس بود و همین که هیچ پلیس زنه نبود. ما 3 نفر هر خط خود ما را به هم دیگه یک جا نزدیک میکردیم تا کم گرم بیاییم، اما آنقدر سخت بود که اصلا گرم نمیشدیم.
We heard the call of Afghan women for bread, work and freedom. Such a call is not a rebellion against Islam, but a voice of conscience to return religion to its holy mission, honoring humankind and upholding justice, including humanity and justice for women. We call on the world leaders, particularly leaders of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation or OIC and International Islamic Organization to give attention and to take action on the injustice in Afghanistan.
Able to deliver this judgment on time, so thank you for being here. What we are doing is we've split the talking times, 10 minutes for each of the judges, and we will be presenting it in the same order as in the judgment itself. So I'd like to hand over to Faisal, who will be presenting on the context of Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashida. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I would like to start by presenting the contextual background as outlined in the judgment. The first part is the structure of gender injustice in Afghanistan. Across Afghanistan's modern history, women's rights have risen and fallen in response to shifting political regimes, cycles of conflict, and conservative social forces rooted in patriarchal customary practices and rigid interpretation of the religion. While a series of 20th century constitutions formally articulated commitments to equality and women's participation in public life, the legal reforms did not translate to transformative change in equality for women. Implementation remained fragile. And frequently reversed as state authority shifted and political actors mobilized religion and culture to consolidate power. The fragility of women's legal and political gains is closely tied to the long-standing patriarchal foundations of Afghan social and political life as well. Patriarchy in Afghanistan is rooted in long-standing customary, tribal, and religious structures that place men in positions of authority and limit women's autonomy. Women's experiences of this patriarchy have also been shaped by decades of war and displacement, which strengthened militarized forms of male dominance and made control over women a marker of social order. Patriarchy in Afghanistan is asymmetric. Women's experiences of gender vary depending on an
August 15, 2021 takeover, the Taliban have utilized a series of tools and tactics that the persecution team defined as the Taliban has enacted a coordinated and institutionalized campaign of repression. Lizelle has already mentioned how these include a sweeping series of many decrees and edicts, the instauration of the Ministry for the Propagation of Virtue and the Prevention of Vice, and many other instruments. Marina has already referred to the factual situation through the valuable testimonies of the witnesses showing the harm that the Taliban have infringed across multiple aspects of daily life, like traveling, sports, education. The de facto authorities have carried out what the Special Rapporteur in his recent report describes as an active weaponization of the legal, judicial, and social order to oppress women and girls, creating a controlled legal and justice system that is designed to enforce, entrench, and sustain the group's repressive and misogynistic ideology. These actions institutionalize the dehumanization of women by using policies that create hyper-segregation, physical isolation, and an underclass. These last three terms have been used by other authors, Douglas Massey and Nancy Dayton, to refer to basic apartheid traits in other contexts.
Have violated Afghanistan's binding obligations under the International Human Rights Treaty to which Afghanistan is a state party. Section 5.3 of the judgment looks at approaches to justice and accountability, and it provides an overview of some of the approaches to justice and accountability that exist in the context of Afghanistan. During the hearing, some concerns were raised about the lack of or minimal international action to the situation facing women and girls. In the judgment, it became important to highlight a few aspects that might hold hope for justice and accountability, but which unfortunately have not moved beyond rhetoric. Okay. See you in the next. Thanks.